Have you ever noticed that pornography isn't about pleasure? It never was. It's about escape. Escape from the loneliness that corrodes from within. Escape from the anxiety that grips your chest without warning. Escape from yourself. And the worst part, you know it. You feel the emptiness right after, that weight in your chest, that feeling of being more distant from who you really are. Everyone tells you to have willpower, to resist, to simply stop. But nobody tells you the truth. Resistance doesn't work. What you resist persists. The more you fight against the impulse, the more power you give it. It's a cycle that keeps you trapped, and you already know this because you've tried 1,000 times and failed 1,000 times. But what if I told you the problem was never a lack of willpower? What if I showed you that you're using the most powerful creative energy in the universe the wrong way? Your sexual energy isn't dirty. It's sacred, and it can be transmuted. In this video, you'll learn ancestral techniques that have been hidden for centuries. It's not about resisting. It's about transforming. You'll discover how to observe the impulse without being dominated by it. How to redirect sexual energy to create instead of destroy. How to do a sensory fast that will completely recalibrate your nervous system. And most importantly, you'll understand that freedom isn't never falling again. It's getting up faster with more awareness every time. Stay until the end. Your life could change in the next few minutes. Have you ever stopped to feel what really happens inside you seconds before opening that website? We're not just talking about physical desire. We're talking about something much deeper, something that pulses like a silent alarm in the center of your chest. That urgency isn't hunger for pleasure, it's a desperate cry for something you've lost touch with, your own presence. The compulsion for pornography has become an escape portal, a gravitational black hole where you dump everything you can't process. The anxiety that grips your throat in the middle of the afternoon. The existential boredom that corrodes your empty Sundays. The loneliness that screams even with people around. The anger you swallow because you were taught to be polite. Each time you access this content, it functions as a pressure valve, temporarily releasing this accumulated tension, but never resolving its origin. The problem is you're using sexual energy, which is literally the most potent creative force running through your body, to emotionally anesthetize yourself. It's like taking rocket fuel and burning it to warm your hands. Does it work? Yes. But it wastes a power that could take you much further. During those minutes of consumption, you experience a profound fragmentation of consciousness. Your mind splits into pieces. One part observes with guilt, another surrenders to the stimulus, another already anticipates the shame that comes after. You literally cease to be whole. And then comes that weight in your chest. You feel it perfectly well, don't you? That feeling of being more distant from yourself than you were before. It's because you just betrayed a sacred pact your soul made with itself, the pact to be present, to be whole, to be truly alive. The moment you surrender to the automatism of compulsion, you turn off your capacity for conscious choice. You become a biological robot reacting to programmed stimuli. But here lies something crucial that most people don't realize. The emptiness you feel afterward isn't created by pornography itself. It was already there before. The compulsion just gives you a temporary pause from feeling that emptiness, and then amplifies it exponentially. It's a vicious cycle perfectly designed. You feel empty, seek relief in the stimulus, obtain fleeting pleasure, and wake up even emptier than before. And what do you do with this greater emptiness? Seek more stimulus. And so, the wheel keeps turning, taking you away from the only thing that could really satisfy you, genuine connection with yourself. Sexual energy wasn't designed to be wasted on pixels. It carries within itself the code of universal creation. It's the same force that forms new life in the womb, that builds civilizations, that manifests art, music, poetry, and inventions. Every great work you admire was born from this transmuted energy, but you're throwing it away, time after time, empty orgasm after empty orgasm, as if it were disposable trash. And I need to tell you something that might be hard to hear. As long as you continue using this vital force to run from yourself, you'll continue feeling disconnected from everything. From your relationships, from your dreams, from your purpose. Because there's no separation between how you use your sexual energy and how you experience reality. The way you handle this force is the way you handle life. If you waste it compulsively, you waste your life compulsively. But what to do with this understanding? How to transform this pattern that seems so rooted in you? The first technique I'm going to present goes against everything you've tried before. You've probably already fought against the impulse as if it were an enemy to be defeated. Already tried to resist with pure willpower, gritting your teeth and saying, "I won't give in this time." And what happened? The impulse came back even stronger, because resistance generates persistence. What you resist persists. This is a fundamental energetic law you need to understand deeply. So let's do it differently. The next time the impulse arises, and it will arise, you can be sure of that. You won't fight against it. You're going to do something revolutionary. You're going to stop exactly where you are. Literally stop everything you're doing. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, slowly, taking the air all the way to the bottom of your abdomen. And then ask the most powerful question you can ask in that moment. What am I really feeling right now? Don't judge yourself for whatever answer comes. Just observe with scientific curiosity, like a researcher studying an interesting phenomenon. You'll notice something surprising. Beneath the compulsive desire, there's always a hidden emotion. Always. Maybe it's fear of not being enough. Maybe it's social inadequacy you've carried since adolescence. Maybe it's just a deep tiredness of pretending to be okay all the time. Maybe it's the pain of a recent rejection you haven't processed. Now comes the crucial part. Name that emotion out loud. Speak to yourself without shame. I'm feeling loneliness. I'm feeling anger at my boss. I'm feeling fear of failure. This simple act of naming creates a sacred space between you and the impulse. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see what before was just a threatening shadow. In that space, something profound happens in your neurology. You stop being the person possessed by the impulse and become the conscious observer of the impulse. This shift in perspective is everything. You are not the impulse. You never were. You are the consciousness that observes the impulse arise, remain, and eventually pass. And this consciousness has the power of choice. The impulse doesn't. It's just a wave of emotional energy looking for an exit. Each time you practice this, you strengthen the muscle of consciousness. Yes, it's a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger with repeated use. In the beginning, it will be difficult. You'll forget to do it. You'll fall into autopilot. But don't give up. Every time you remember to stop and observe, even if it's after you've already given in, you're training. You're reprogramming neural patterns that have years of conditioning. Eventually, something magical will happen. The impulse will arise, and before you even consciously think, your body will automatically stop. You'll breathe. You'll observe. You'll name. And you'll notice that the impulse no longer has the same power over you. It's still there, but you're no longer identified with it. You've recovered your inner freedom. And this freedom doesn't mean you'll never feel the impulse again. It means you're no longer a slave to it. The impulse can ring the doorbell, but you're not obligated to open the door. The second technique works directly with the energy you've been wasting. And first of all, I need you to understand something fundamental. Your sexual energy isn't dirty. It's not a sin. It's not something shameful that needs to be repressed or hidden. It's sacred. Completely sacred. It's the same force that creates life, that manifests realities, that moves entire civilizations through history. All ancient esoteric traditions knew this. The Chinese Taoists called it Jing. The Indian yogis called it Kundalini. The European alchemists called it prima materia. Different names for the same truth. You carry within you a primordial creative force, and what you do with it literally determines the quality of your existence. So let's learn to redirect this energy instead of wasting it. As soon as you notice sexual arousal arising compulsively, after having done the conscious observer exercise, you'll do the following. Stand up. That's right, physically get up. Place both hands on your lower abdomen, just below the navel. Feel the warmth of your hands on this region. Now breathe deeply, visualizing this sexual energy as a golden, warm light concentrating there. You don't need to believe in this for it to work. Visualization is just a tool to direct attention, and where your attention goes, your energy goes. This is basic neuroscience, not vague mysticism. With each deep breath, visualize this golden light slowly rising up your spine. It passes through the solar plexus, where you store your emotions. It rises to the heart, where your capacity to love and connect reside. It continues rising through the throat, the center of your creative expression, and finally reaches the top of your head, illuminating your mind with clarity. You're literally transmuting sexual energy into creative energy. It's not magic, it's internal alchemy. It's the conscious redirection of biological forces through focused intention. Do this for 3 minutes. Breathe, visualize, feel the energy rising. Your body will start to tingle. You might feel warmth. You might feel a subtle vibration. This is normal. It's the energy moving. After these 3 minutes, grab a notebook and write whatever comes to mind. Or draw. Or plan something you want to create in the world. It could be a professional project. It could be a letter to someone you love. It could be the solution to a problem you've been postponing. You'll feel a surprising mental clarity, as if a fog had dissipated from your brain. This happens because you just fed your higher centers with the same energy you normally waste on the lower ones. You took the rocket fuel and finally used it to take off instead of burning it on the ground. And the most interesting part, after this process, the compulsive impulse will have completely disappeared. Not because you resisted it, but because you transformed it into something else. Practice this every day, even in moments when you don't feel sexual impulse. Make this transmutation a morning habit. 7 minutes in the morning redirecting vital energy to your creative project. You'll notice profound changes not just in the compulsion, but in your capacity to manifest things in real life. The third technique is more radical and will require courage from you. We're talking about a complete sensory fast for 7 full days. And it's not just about stopping pornography consumption. That's obvious. We're talking about something much deeper. A total disconnection from the artificial stimuli that bombard your nervous system all day long. No social media. No series. No music with headphones. No notifications popping up on the screen. No infinite scrolling. No constant stimuli keeping you distracted from your own presence. Just you and the silence. You and naked reality without digital filters. In the first 2 days, you'll feel an intense emotional withdrawal. Your mind will scream like a child having a tantrum. It will create elaborate justifications. You're exaggerating. This is extremism. You need to stay informed. Your friends will find it strange. You'll miss important opportunities. Ignore all of this. They're just old neural algorithms trying to maintain the status quo. The discomfort you'll feel is real, but it's not dangerous. It's just your brain complaining because it was trained to seek easy dopamine every 3 minutes. You've conditioned your nervous system to need external stimuli to feel alive. Now you're going to deconstruct this conditioning neuron by neuron, synapse by synapse. On the 3rd day, something starts to change. Subtle at first, but undeniable. You start to notice details you haven't seen in years. The real taste of food without looking at a screen while eating. The sound of birds in the morning, which was always there but you never paid attention to. The texture of things under your fingers. The faces of people you talk to, really seeing them, not just waiting for your turn to speak. You're detoxifying your dopamine receptors, recalibrating your nervous system to respond to natural stimuli instead of just artificial ones. Your brain is relearning to be satisfied with the simple, with the real, with the present. On the fourth and fifth day, you might feel emotions arising without warning. Sadness, anger, joy without apparent reason. Let everything flow. These emotions were always there, you just kept them anesthetized with constant stimuli. Now they have space to express themselves and be processed. Cry if you need to. Scream into a pillow if anger comes. Dance if joy arises. You're returning to truly feeling. On the sixth day, you'll notice something profound, an inner peace that doesn't depend on anything external. It's not euphoria. It's not excitement. It's a living stillness, a serene presence that's simply there, like a calm lake reflecting the sky. You're touching your essence, that part of you that has never been touched by all the noise of the world. On the seventh day, look at yourself in the mirror. Look into your own eyes for a few minutes. You'll recognize someone you haven't seen in a long time, yourself awakened. Not the version you pretend to be on social media. Not the version that hides in pornography. You real, present, alive. And after these 7 days, you'll notice something disturbing. The world continues functioning without you being connected all the time. Nothing important was lost. But you gained something precious back. Your attention, your sensitivity, your life. Now you need a ritual that anchors this new reality that's emerging in you. Rituals aren't superstition. They're ancestral technologies for reprogramming consciousness. They create fixed points of intention in the chaos of daily life, energetic landmarks that remind you of who you're choosing to become. Choose a time of day, preferably at dawn. This isn't romantic, it's practical. At dawn, your mind hasn't yet been hijacked by the day's demands. Your subconscious is more accessible, more receptive to new patterns. You're literally programming your consciousness before the external world starts programming it for you. Light a white candle. The flame is a universal symbol of awakened consciousness, of light in darkness. You're not worshiping the candle, you're using a physical element to anchor a metaphysical intention. Sit in silence before it, spine erect, but without tension. Breathe a few times, feeling your body settle into position. Place your right hand over your heart. Feel the warmth of your own hand on your chest. Feel the beats of your heart under your palm. You're alive. You're present. Now say out loud, with all the conviction you can muster, I honor my vital energy. I choose the sacred over the empty. I am worthy of full presence. Say these words out loud, not just mentally. The voice creates vibration, and vibration alters state. You're literally making your body hear a new narrative about who you are. Repeat the 3 phrases 3 times. Feel the weight of each word. Don't just recite mechanically, put real emotion into it. You're making a sacred pact with yourself. Do this for 21 consecutive days without skipping any. 21 days because that's the minimum time it takes to start forming a new consistent neural pattern. This isn't vague esotericism, it's neuroplasticity. Your brain is creating new pathways, new highways of thought and behavior. Don't skip any day. If you skip, start the count from 0 again. This discipline isn't punishment, it's strengthening of spiritual will. Each morning you honor this commitment, you're telling your soul, I am trustworthy. I keep what I promise to myself. And this rebuilds the self-respect that was corroded by compulsion. This ritual isn't religious, it's energetic. You're not praying to any external divinity. You're reprogramming your subconscious mind, creating a new identity. You stop being the person who struggles against pornography and become the person who honors their vital energy. It seems subtle, but it's a difference that changes everything. Every time temptation arises during the day, and it will arise, especially in the first days, you'll remember this sacred moment, this pact you made with your soul at dawn, and this will create a powerful counterweight to the impulse. You'll think, I promised something to myself this morning. I'm going to honor that promise. And when you honor it even once, the effect is exponential. You realize you're capable of keeping your word. You realize your conscious will can override your automatic impulses. And this realization builds momentum, creating an upward spiral instead of the downward spiral of compulsion. The ritual also serves as an internal coherence detector. If you're having difficulty doing the ritual, if you're always finding excuses to skip it, this shows you that you're not yet fully committed to transformation. And this is valuable information. Don't deceive yourself. Be brutally honest with yourself about the real level of your commitment. True liberation doesn't come from becoming perfect. It comes from integrating your shadows, and this is something few people truly understand. You will slip, maybe several times, maybe many times, and what you do in these moments of relapse determines whether you'll evolve or just repeat the same cycle of guilt and shame that keeps you trapped. Guilt is treacherous. It disguises itself as moral conscience, but it's actually just another form of staying trapped. Guilt makes you look back with self-punishment instead of looking forward with learning. It keeps you identified with the mistake instead of freeing you for evolution. So let's do it differently. If you slip, if you fall back into the old pattern, don't drown in self-punitive guilt. Instead, as soon as you realize what happened, sit in meditation. It doesn't need to be anything elaborate. Just sit in silence, close your eyes, and bring your hand to your heart. Feel the beats under your palm. Breathe deeply and say to yourself, out loud, I forgive myself. I am learning to love myself completely. Say this with sincerity. It's not about giving yourself permission to err again. It's about not transforming the error into identity. You are not the relapse. You are the consciousness that's learning to navigate old impulses with new tools. And all learning involves errors. All growth involves stumbling. This isn't an excuse, it's reality. After forgiving yourself, grab your journal and write. But don't write, I failed again, I'm weak, I'll never make it. That's just repeating the old narrative. Instead, write exactly what happened before the relapse. Be a scientific investigator of your own consciousness. What emotion were you avoiding? What difficult conversation didn't you have? What truth about your life didn't you want to face? You'll notice patterns. Maybe every relapse happens after conflicts at work. Maybe it happens on empty weekends. Maybe it happens after social interactions that leave you feeling inadequate. These patterns are mapped. They show you exactly where your consciousness still needs to expand, where your capacity to deal with uncomfortable emotions still needs to grow. Each relapse is a teacher in disguise. It shows you with surgical precision where you're still using pornography as an emotional anesthetic. And now you have tools. You have the conscious observer. You have energy transmutation. You have the sensory fast to recalibrate. You have the morning ritual to strengthen intention. Use these tools in the places the teacher pointed out. Over time, you'll notice something profound. The intervals between relapses will get longer. In the beginning, maybe you fall every day, then every 3 days, then once a week, then once a month, and eventually you'll realize months have passed without even thinking about it. Not because you're resisting with willpower, but because you've genuinely evolved to a different state of consciousness. And even if you fall after months of being clean, don't throw everything away. Those months weren't lost. Each day of full presence was real. Each moment of conscious energy transmutation was real. You don't go back to zero. You just found another layer of shadow that needs light. Because freedom isn't the absence of struggle. Freedom is total presence in the middle of it. It's the capacity to fall and rise without losing compassion for yourself. It's understanding that you're not trying to kill the dragon of compulsion, you're trying to integrate it, transform it into an ally, use its strength in your favor instead of against you. Now you have the tools. The conscious observer, energy transmutation, the sensory fast, the sacred ritual, shadow integration. But tools kept in the drawer don't transform anything. So the real question is, are you going to apply this or just consume more content and continue the same? Because I need to be honest with you. Nothing will change if you don't act. You can watch 1,000 videos, read 1,000 books, but if tomorrow morning you don't light that candle and do the ritual, if the next time the impulse comes you don't stop and observe, you'll continue exactly where you are. The responsibility is now yours. So answer me in the comments. Which of these techniques will you apply first? What's stopping you from starting now? Be honest. The community here is to support you, not to judge you. And if you really want to free yourself, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because this journey of consciousness awakening is just beginning. There's much more ancestral knowledge that needs to reach you. The final question I leave you with is, are you going to continue being a slave to your impulses, or will you become master of your vital energy? The choice has always been yours.